Okay, welcome back for the third video in the Intro to Chem series. I'm going to open the calibration here. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do some injector scaling. And chem2 and some cals are nice in that they give you this group called scale for injectors, which includes all the tables and constants that would need to be scaled for injectors. And now we come to the file menu and click this scale injectors. The program is picking up this injector size, the current injector size, from the top of the calx file where it says what the injector size was. And actually, let me give you the full throttle fuel table so you can see the changes that this scaling is actually going to make. So now I'm going to scale this to +40s, and you can see how the guidelines have already changed, which I'll go over in a second. And it brought the amount of fuel needed at wide open throttle well down. And again, all of these tables in here should now, if you were to compare them to a standard cal, which I can do, let me open the comparison, and you can see that this fuel start from coolant temp is scaled way down. The original fuel part throttle is scaled, way down from original, full throttle. No throttle, again, transient throttle enrichment. And this monitor scaling should change, but I don't believe that it shows you the comparison value for constants like this. So I'm going to close the comparison. Now if you notice on these three main fueling tables, we have all this additional information. And the way these additional lines get set is through this fueling button down here. You can also get to it through this guides menu up here. It's really all the same. And in here are the settings that control how this green line is set up. So really everything is set up alright. I usually just change the gas to what I can actually get, which is usually 10% ethanol here in Connecticut. And this will make a minor change. It's not hugely significant. I don't know if you saw how much the green line moved down, but it did a little bit. And if you also notice the over in the left, right here, there's a air-to-fuel ratio given for this PSI rating with this many microseconds of fuel. And that directly correlates to how close you are to this line or how far off. I don't believe that this is any different. No. Okay. Basically, if you were to match your actual line for your fuel curves to this green line, should provide you with in theory, it should provide you with a nice stable AFR across the range. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust these points, and again I'm just clicking on them with the mouse and holding shift to move them a long ways, and then just the up arrow key to move them a little ways. As you can see, we should probably put another point in this table, which I'll cover in another video. And now you should be able to see that across most of the RPM range, the air-fuel ratio over in the left-hand side stays, and it's pretty stable. I guess up in boost is what we're mainly concerned with, and it's stable to getting richer. And again, to write this calibration on, I hit this write file here and it would write it immediately to the disk. Now, one word about adjusting things to be on this green line here, the part throttle table. This takes into account the whole fueling calculation that the ECU uses. And part of that fueling calculation is stored in this pumping efficiency table, which I'm sure if you've read much about these calibrations is something that's often tossed around. You can read the somewhat long description here, but basically this is how efficient your engine is at moving air at a certain RPM. And all sorts of things change this. I mean, you know, the big ones would be like cam or head work, but also small things, even like exhaust work, can have a little bit of an effect on this. And that green line on the fueling calculations requires basically that this pumping efficiency be correct in order to provide you with the correct value. And while more often than not the factory pumping efficiency doesn't match what your car's is, you can sort of use that green line and the calculated air-fuel ratio to know which way you have to go with your pumping efficiency table. And this table is just RPMs for the x-axis and a percentage, basically, of air that your engine can move at that RPM. So 1 would be, if it's a 2.2 liter, 2.2 full liters of air at at that RPM. As you can see, way out here up above 4 grand, 4,500, it starts falling pretty readily to 80%. Which anybody who's driven one of these cars knows that they just sort of fall off in the high RPMs if you haven't done anything to them. And that, I believe, covers it. The one interesting thing is this wonderful bit of 80s screensaverishness that I stumbled on the other day. Anyways, you guys have questions or suggestions or would like a follow-up done, please PM me or post up in the threads or in the thread in the forums. Talk to you soon.